cordless one? Oh, you leaving it there, Gerard?
I just didn't.
Oh, you just didn't put it. Okay, all right. So we are gearing up stories of heroes again with the men. Welcome. We were just already kind of talking about some things, and from a therapist standpoint, is one thing when women sit in my chair and cry. That does something completely different because men are often taught, that they shouldn't cry, right? Suck it up. Part of not just hurting, but it's a freedom, that comes along with that. And so today, the men are just going to talk, and be candid about some of the things that your significant others, your sons, so they can begin to see real men, right? And I hate to use that word real men, but you know what I'm saying. Talking about day to day issues. And so a little bit more understanding, even when the men may not be able to articulate how they're feeling. You can be a little bit more patient. So, again, women, we want to make sure those who we may be in a relationship with and understand that a lot of men are carrying heavy loads that they don't feel they have a safe place to, and I'll be on the other side as the men just really just start the conversation.
Now we got to follow that. um, it was posed to me today, and this is unrehearsed coming to you. They just don't know how to show it. And so I find myself that it was a truth for me because a lot of times when I can't explain my emotions, my experiences, I shut down. I can't really find the words of reality to say what I really mean. Instead of coming across as silly or a buffoon, I just shut it down. And then I tuck myself away in this hard bark that's around me that life has shown me that if you expose yourself, they may not like what they see, but furthermore, it may not be the, how would you say, the symbol of what a man is. And so I responded back to this individual and I said, what is a man? What is a man? We have emotions, we have feelings, we have all these things that we display, but a lot of times we cannot explain what man is. Not scripturally, you're there to provide and this and that. I'm talking about in our horizontal, and I know God is in everything, but in our horizontal, what makes you shut down or us? Any reply on that?
I think for me, it's difficult conversations. Um, Anything that goes back to my past, or if it's a situation where I've been shot before. So if it's a situation that has to do with someone being hurt or someone getting hurt and almost losing their lives, it's like I'm shutting down because I experienced that. And the experience of that sometimes just gives me the thought process of I'm grateful to be here, but I do know some people that are not here based on that situation. So that's an area where I try not to go down the road because I know many questions can come from that. And I'm like, well, it happened. I'm going to keep it bottled up and then speak on it only if I need to. So
I just feel like men feel it as if other men will look at them differently. You know what I'm saying? Because like they might look at you as weak.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or they might look at you like I don't want to mess around with him no more. So some of them probably don't say what's on their mind because of the fact that they don't want people to cross them off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's my thing.
I mean, I think with that, you just got to find, like I said, as we were starting, you got to find good people to be in your life, wherever like that, whether it's family, friends, just to have open and honest conversations with. I don't recall what I did when I couldn't vent. I mean, I know I definitely shut down and things, but just the space that I occupy and where I'm at now, I can call my friends and talk to them about whatever, and that's just I prefer that over not being able to converse about things. So yeah.
So what happens when you're starting off in a relationship, not male, female, or anything like that, but just in an associated relationship with somebody, and what's your signal that tells you that you can open up? Anybody?
I don't have like a signal or something like that in the back of my mind. I have it like 2-3 weeks ago. I think me and Devin was just talking, and it started off as casual conversation. We might have been talking about sports, and then it just slowly evolved to us sharing some stuff. And it wasn't that, oh, I seen like a mirror reflection because Devin is African American or anything like that, or because we had just talked about sports. I just felt led to open up about something and didn't really care if what he may or may not have said. Or then when I left to think like, should I text Devin and be like, hey, that was in confidence or whatever like that. Like one of the policies that I started off with this year was that I wasn't giving disclaimers. So if me and you talking, and I say, I'm only going to tell you this because I trust you. No, I'm not giving you that disclaimer no more. I'm telling you this because you my friend, and that's the end of it all. I'm that's just where I'm at in my life and journey. And so I like I said, there's no indicator to me that, oh, you know, I don't know, we went out and got drinks 5 times. Now it's time to, you know, do whatever. Or, you know, even going with a female, oh, it's past the 90-day mark now of let's be more vulnerable. It's I think, you know, when the time is right, you going to know it and feel it and then move accordingly and watch that either that relationship or that whatever, because relationship can mean different things. Whatever that relationship is, me doing that, it took us to the next level that of our relationship, or we didn't go to the next level, and that's okay as well too. So I guess just I look at it as just you might as well say it, and just be. You got. I think you just got with that. Just be comfortable with yourself, wherever like that, what you going through and processing, and like how you said that every guy at least is going through the same thing.
Absolutely.
I don't care if y'all laugh at me or whatever like that, you know, or I don't care if y'all call me names or whatever like that. That's just me or whatever like that. It's just the peace that I'm at with most things that I go through. And I do have, like I said, those friends that, hey, man, I can tell you the craziest thing that happened at me today at work, where I can tell you how, man, I thought I had $1 million idea. I ain't make no money off of that. Oh, well, I'm going to keep trying, though, wherever like that. And I think, like, you know, you got to have friends that's going to joke with you about some stuff because you may need that humor. That there's been this meme that's been going around on social media. I've been saying, like, it say, over here, we laugh at dark humor. Sometimes you need somebody to help you just come laugh at what you was going through, wherever like that, or give you a new perspective on it or whatever. And that's not that they not insensitive. It's like they may be doing the best that they know how to do for, you know, the situation and where it lies at. So that's just my take on it.
Anybody?
I think most of the time when people laugh, it's not. You're right. They don't think that it's because It's not because they think you're funny. You know what I'm saying? But that's just how they. That's how they show their emotions towards what you're going through. You know what I'm saying? So when you you shouldn't take offense to somebody just laughing. You know what I'm saying? Because most of the time that's not what it is. Because the way you see things is different from the way everybody else sees things. Perspective. So.
How's your trust levels? What if you do tell someone something kind of like personal, and the next thing you hear it, not from the individual. Now, you didn't ask them to swear to secrecy, but then it came out. How do you respond then?
I feel like you shouldn't tell nobody nothing that they can't tell, because if you ain't gonna keep it, if it's something you want to hide so bad, keep it inside. Don't even tell nobody.
But what if it's busting you up? Keeping it.
Listen, let it bust you up then.
Yours respond?
Oh, um, I think. I mean, I agree. If it's there and you want to get it out, if somebody gonna tell it, they gonna tell it. But from the horse's mouth, come speak to me about it, right? If you want to know more about it, then I can tell you more about it, right? I necessarily don't. Wouldn't say that I will hold things from friends because I am who I am. I ain't gonna say I have many friends, but I have good friends and people that I associate myself with on a daily basis that know me for who I am. So I wouldn't say that I would go out here and just tell everybody my business. If I feel comfortable with you and I think that the trust is built, I'm going to tell you something. If you go out there and you say whatever it is that you say about me, I'm not going to be mad at you. You are who you are. But I feel like if you're my friend, if you love me, if you trust me, then you're going to, you're going to do right by it.
What if it's your significant other?
That's different.
No, no, no.
It's different. But again, if you love me, if you trust me, then we can have that conversation.
What if you were talking, not just in a pillow talk situation, but you're just talking to your partner, your wife, fiance, somebody that you thought would keep it, that they would know you without you sending out real red flags or flares that this is sensitive. But they knew you well enough that they wouldn't export that information to somebody else.
I guess the question should be,
Mhm.
have you been in a situation like that? In a relationship where you trust, an intimate relationship, where you trusted them with your emotions, your weakness, or whatever, and they end up saying something, going behind your back, or throwing it up in your face when y'all get in an argument.
Both scenarios
Yeah, I was
has
about to
happened.
say, yeah, I've been there definitely. I'm not gonna say as to put me on blast to family or whatever, but definitely in an argument or a heated situation, of course. It doesn't make me feel bad because I know that it's coming from a hurt place. It's coming from a hurt place. If we're in an argument or a situation where you don't agree with me, I'm not using that to light the flame, to try to set you off. Because then I got to hold my emotions, right? Somebody got to have a common head. So if you're saying something to me, I'm not going to fight fire with fire. Okay, I said it, I did it. Okay, I understand. We can talk about this another day.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened to me before in the past on both ends. And at that point, I definitely probably handled it immature and, confronted them in an anger type of way, like, why you tell my business or whatever. But now, like kind of what Devin said, I'm not saying nothing that I know that I'm fearful of it getting out. It was just more or less like, I told you, and now, okay. After the conversation, I'm not going back and having a conversation like, oh, I told you, why would you say anything? It's more or less like now, I don't tell you as much now, and that's just that. You don't know how to hold water. So, and, the shirt I got on today says loose lips sink ships. So that's literally, is it an Amber Alert going on or something? Oh, okay, I apologize. But yeah, that's just how I look at it now, and so with it being now, I'll just, okay, I don't tell you as much no more. And with the partner, I think just effective conversations and communications got to be had. That's just where I look at it as, like, I didn't think that me being vulnerable and open with you would be thrown back in my face. Absolutely. But you kind of like Anthony said, you got to know sometimes where a conversation or something is a stem from emotions. So it's like, you don't got to match energy and throw something back that they share with you in confidence. It's more or less like, oh, okay, we talking about emotions today. I'm gonna give you time to cool off. That's it.
Do you shut it down though?
Shut what down?
Do you shut yourself down?
When my business is told, or when,
like when you know for a fact that you've been damaged and somebody didn't contain the information, now it still bothers you. Now you have no outlet for it. Now you shut down. Is that what you do?
No, I got too many outlets now.
Okay.
Too many healthy outlets.
Okay.
Before.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
I shut it down. For real. That's just me. If I tell you something and I expect for you to keep it and you go tell somebody else, I shut it down. We can talk later. We can talk. I'll see you and I'll say what's up and whatever, and I'm about my business. I ain't about you no more. I mean, we ain't like that. That's
Yeah,
just how it
yeah.
is. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like if I can't trust you, I can't be around you for real. That's how I feel. If I can't trust you, I can't be around you, and I can't tell you nothing. So, you know, I know a lot of people that I done said things to and whatever, and they go out and say it again, and after that, I'm like, I'll see them, whether it's at work or wherever I see them at, and I'll be like, hey, Will, how you doing? Or hey, Lou, how you doing? And I'm gone. We don't need to sit in the same circle. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel.
Yeah, that's real. That's good. How many do you cry easily?
Nope.
No.
I cry sometimes. I mean, yeah, I think everybody cry. You know what I'm
Do you
saying?
cry easily?
Depends.
Okay.
It's all depends. I mean, depends on how deep you cut me. If you cut me deep enough, I'm gonna cry. And most of the time when I cry out of anger. For real. If I'm mad enough, I'm gonna cry. 'Cause when you see them tears coming, that means you stay away from me. Period.
No, I don't cry easily, but will I cry? Yeah, I think it just depends on how long I avoid it.
What do you mean easily? Can you define that?
Easily. Just say if you and your spouse or girlfriend and I want to I'm going more off of from intimate relationship. You and your spouse or girlfriend, is in a disagreement, right? And you're hurt, genuinely hurt. Are you comfortable with crying and letting her know you hurt, or do you walk away? Because sometimes, even when we're talking about healthy relationships, depending on how you move, will let the other person know whether you care or not care. And a lot of men, I notice, they'll just walk away. So when I
Yeah.
say cry easily, when you're in a conflict with your significant other, partner, whoever you may be in a relationship with, do you feel free or comfortable enough to cry in front of that person? And if you don't, why or why not?
I would say for me, woo, boy, that's kind of like baked potato with bacons and cream on it. That's a loaded. That's real loaded. Man, I would say,
Be real, because I live with you.
I know you do. That's what makes it a baked potato. It's loaded. I would say, yeah, not easily. It's I do. And I cry out of two things, whether I got hurt or I can't explain what I'm really trying to say, and it was taken out of content, and I can't clean it. And that resonates with me emotionally because I said something or I did something, and that was not my intentions, not the reactions of the person, but doggone, man, I can't fix it. And if I can't fix it because I'm mission orientated, my emotions will show. Now, a lot of times I try to walk away, but a lot of times I can't even remove myself from this. I just get paralyzed because I'm trying to get into my faculties to find out how do I clean it? And then because I was taken out of so much content, man, that hurts. That hurts, especially if it's on your significant other. And you know oh God. I'm just being real. Yeah, I probably do cry easy.
And somebody else answer that.
You got one? You want some? Okay.
Somebody else. What do you?
I'm gonna say no. For myself, I mean, we can get into heated discussions. We can get into heated arguments. It's going to take a lot for me to cry, and I think it all has to stem for me from deep down within. The traumatic events of this life sometimes makes it hard for me to process things in a way where I shed tears. And just having that armor or that suit on me, it's kind of hard for me just to shed a tear. The last time I cried was maybe at the beginning of the year or something, but it was in the midst of listening to Christian music. It wasn't in the midst of having an argument or being in a situation where me and my significant other is going back and forth or something. There was a time where I felt that we were arguing too much, and then I felt hurt, and then I cried. But at that point, I let her know, and then like it just eased the tensions, and we went on. But it's hard for me to shed a tear or shed tears based on perception, based on who I am. So
That's good. That's good though, because sometimes women equate, and I don't want to say just women, but equate your response with whether or not you care. And so if you find that it's a lot of arguing in the home, it's a misunderstanding because it's like, okay, how is it that we can be going through this? I can be hurt as the woman, and you don't even appear hurt. You're able to walk away or get upset or whatever, and the woman can really interpret that as you don't really care.
I think some like I'm gonna say this because like I feel like some men don't show like their emotions to their significant other because like sometimes they feel like you're not being real with it. You know what I'm saying? Like they feel like you're just doing it just to be doing it, and I don't feel like it should be looked at like that. They should take you serious because if you ain't gonna cry just to be crying, just be sitting down there woo wooing and just going on. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like if there's something going on and you're hurt by it or you notice they're hurt and you start feeling it just for them, you know what I'm saying, to see what they're going through, then they should just accept that. Look, this is just what it is. So just take it for face value.
And some women can be hard too.
Yeah.
Right? Some women can be hard. It's always amazing when I have a couple in my office, and that man may have never cried in front of his person that he's with. And then in the office, he end up shedding a tear. And one of the things I ask the woman to do is look at it, right? What are you seeing? Because a lot of times we're so busy trying to explain our point, right?
Yes.
And be right about something. And in being right, you in the wrong because now it's a divorce or a breakup or something like that. And so it's just, that's why counseling too is so important. Because a lot of times it really goes back to, misunderstandings, how we perceiving things, and not really being open and sensitive. Because if I have a couple in my office and one of the others crying, and the other person is not even feeling that, I'm like, whoa, what's happening? And so that's something that, communication and everything definitely needs to take place.
A little feedback on what you said. That is one of my desires, but I'm kind of like Devin in that platform. It's best for you to let me cry this out, because once that emotion don't come, then I look at you probably as an enemy, because I'm being vulnerable and it hurts me so bad, mainly not because I'm a baby, but maybe because my anger then reached a point where you better let me release some of this adrenaline, or you're going to find yourself having a problem. Because I know in my conscious level, I can get to a place where I just don't care. I don't care. I'll tear it up. I'll be like, I'll burn the whole damn house down. I don't care. Let me get that out.
That's real.
Let me get that out.
No, that's real what he said though, because like once you get, I don't know if you, like I've never really felt what it feels like to be blacked out like some people, but like once you get to like a certain limit in your anger or whatever, or in your hurt, in your pain, you know what I'm saying? There ain't nowhere to go. You know what I'm saying? There ain't nothing to stop you from exploding. It's like blowing a balloon. Once when she blow the balloon so big or put so much air in it,
Yeah.
it's gonna explode. So now it explode, and now you're like, wow, what just happened right there? You know what I'm saying? Like, you done pushed too far.
Yeah.
So that's just it.
Anthony, what's going through your head? Your wheels is turning.
They are. Because that's good. I mean, for me, it's patience. And then it's a extensive buildup. It's an extensive buildup. Like I say, it's hard for me to cry. But once I get to that point, that extensive buildup is just like, I got to step away.
Yeah.
Because at this point, if I don't, then my cap is going to blow. And it takes a lot for me to get there because I'm so patient. So having outlets or having thought processes where I can do stuff to allow me to stay patient, stay grounded, allows me that ability where that crying is something that I'm not foreseeing, but it gets my mind off of it. So it's, you know, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
Wow. That's interesting. You said something. Gets your mind off of it.
Yeah.
Right? So does getting your mind off of it actually solve it? Go ahead, Jim.
No, it doesn't solve
I was
it.
about to say.
Nah, it doesn't solve that. I mean, for the moment and the time, it gets it off of it, but we have to come back. We have to come back. Because obviously if I allow it to be, then it's going to escalate more than what it needs to be. But at that time and that moment, I need that break. I need that break. So
Okay, I got a question for you. Now, do you need a 30-minute break, or do you need a break until, like, whenever you feel like coming back? Are you going to be the one to say, well, okay, let's finish talking about this, or your partner's supposed to say, well, are you ready to talk about it yet? Because, I mean, what if you're still steaming? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do
I got
then?
feedback to that as well.
Come on.
So it depends on the situation, depends on the scenario. So if it's significant other, you know what I'm saying? Look, I want to, as much as I want to go down that road where I'm about to get into you, I have to come back to it. If it's my child, then I have to think about it. So it's processes. So what do I need to come back to the situation to try to help it? If I feel the need that it's going to take 2 or 3 days, then we have to set it aside because that's a big event. If I feel the need that, okay, this was just a blow up, minor miscommunication, let's talk about it now. Let's talk about it now and get it out the way so we can move forward. But if it's a big blow up, yeah, we ain't coming back to it. We make 2 to 3 days. 2 to 3 days.
Okay.
No, I'm just gonna add to that. I feel like it just depends on the severity of what's going on. Cause I do it now with my friends. Like, we can have like disagreements or whatever. Either we gonna address it right now, or y'all can go to y'all respective homes. I'm gonna go to mine. We gonna have a conversation at a later point. It may be later on that day as we going out again. Like, hey, what you did earlier, man? That was some BS or whatever like that. Yeah, man, my bad. I was tripping or whatever like that earlier on. But I think just like he said, just depends on what all took place or whatever like that. And then knowing like, sure, you might need that time for both parties or whatever like that for them to internalize, you know what, I did say that one left thing that didn't set them off. Or in turn, like, dang, I keep letting these one little things get to me every time or whatever like that. And I had a situation happen similar to that over this weekend. With she's not my blood sister, but one of my sisters. It's not that we not talking, but in a sense, just some things happened in our friendship, and I took some time away from the friendship, and I had told her like, this was just a place I was in right now that I'm just in solidarity and just focus on healing and growing. That's it. And I reached back out to her and was like, hey, I'm in town this weekend. Let's link. Let's have a conversation.
Mhm.
She we was supposed to link up. She had a dinner plan with her boyfriend and stuff like that. I was like, okay, cool. I go see Creed by myself, and then she ended up asking me like, "Are you free now?" And I was like, in a sense, prior I would have done everything in my power to make sure that we met, but it was like, in a sense, you know what? You didn't prioritize it in that situation. I'm gonna take what I need to do a step back. We're just gonna reschedule it for another time. Maybe it's more stuff that God want us to put our hearts to the side or whatever like that, or more stuff that we got to work on and discuss or whatever like that. So I definitely think just, the time is definitely key in everything.
And I mean, I agree with that. Like, it really, you really have to think about it, because if you process it at that moment and at that time, things could really go left.
Yeah.
And that moment to think about it, to take that time, you can come back with a clear head and try to get to a better understanding. And I mean, if you're not going to be friends, you're not going to be friends. Right. But family, you know what I'm saying? Family is different, where you got to have that support. So if I'm having that negative connotation against you, I can't feel that I'm going to support you at that moment. So that's why it's not easy, but it's going to be in me to come back to have that conversation, so we are on the same page, so we can continue to move forward, because we have to continue to build this foreground so we can be better as a family. So,
You think that's a little bit of knowing your partner too, though, to certain degrees? So in a sense, though, like if you go 2-3 hours versus 2-3 days, that's y'all both knowing like the heaviness of what was discussed, and also knowing that it's possibly not deterring the relationship. Do you feel like that?
I do. I feel like that, yeah, because based on, I mean, the many arguments or difficult situations that we had, we understood that maybe those days were needed.
Yeah.
Because if they were not, if they didn't happen, then we probably wouldn't have met at a common ground, and we would have just went our separate ways.
Yeah.
They got to that point. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree with that. The reason why I ask, because I know in a sense, like, and this is just using this for, conversation purposes only, wherever. Our other colleague on the show, Sean, he always saying, come over and come to his house or wherever like that if one of those times are wrong. But in a sense, no, let's go off the first point that you brought up about empathy. What if you go over there to share something, and let's remove Sean, just that friend that's always available? I feel like in those time frames, I done definitely got some bad advice or bad opinions in that midst of that space and that time. And let's just call it spade a spade. You don't need to be dealing with that person anywhere, wherever like that. And you already on day 2, day 3 now, or however long, or hour 1 or 2. You like, oh, I can keep this going or whatever like that, or I know it's an immature thing and a thought process, but we all got to be real and say we know those people in our lives that can tell us that other side of it, and too much space or time was given or whatever like that. That's when the enemies start to creep in or whatever like that, and such and such start looking good at work, or y'all know how that go. So
right, one in that little narrative that was going on, what happens if 3 days don't take it and it don't make it work, and your significant other or your friend believes that, okay, it took you 4 or 5 days, I've been trying to get with you, now rough you but you still want the relationship, but the other person says, okay, you had plenty of time to make this right, to have a conversation. Now I didn't turn the channel, and my focus is somewhere else, and you still thirsty to complete or to resolve that issue. What do you do? Or what have you done?
So I'm not going to say that it's been longer than 3 to 4 days, but it's all about a communication barrier. For me, if you feel that way, then internally there's nothing that I'm going to say that's going to change your mind, because your thought process is totally different than mine. if we have communicated and we understand each other, then we understand how far we can go, because we built that prior to the breakdown that has occurred. So I believe that it's a communication barrier at that point. At that point.
One of the things that's coming up for me, I guess I'm like, why do we need 2 or 3 days? You know what I'm saying, or even hours? Like, what is it that you can't really just sit and talk about? You know, because again, it's like if we're caught up on being right, then we're gonna need a couple days, right? But if we're on the same page, saying that this is what we're trying to bake, this is where we're going. So just say, for example, my husband and I. Now we don't, argue. There don't be a lot of arguing going on, but it do be disagreements in like child stuff, right? Child rearing and all of that. But it's like I'm kind of like, okay, wait, hold on, help me understand what you're saying. Let's talk. You don't need 3 days because we're gonna still come back to me needing to understand what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? So now we don't waited 3 days, and now it's So I guess that's what's going through my mind now. Why is it taking y'all that hours, days, or any of that? Go ahead.
I think I want to answer that one. Let me answer that one. Okay. The reason why it takes 3 days, right, is because, okay, say y'all fall out tonight, whatever, and tomorrow y'all meet up down the kitchen and y'all ain't saying nothing to each other, or the next person ain't say hello, we gonna keep moving. The next day come, the night come, y'all go to bed, one lay on one side of the bed, the other one lay on the other side of the bed. Y'all gonna wake up, y'all gonna still got an attitude. Now you might feel some type of way, the other person might not feel some type of way, you know what I'm saying? Like, the other person might think that everything is all right. Now the next day, y'all still ain't talking. So now the other person is like, look, okay, I'm gonna do my own thing then. You doing your own thing, I'm gonna do my own thing. We packing up, leaving the house and go wherever. Then guess what? Okay, that's how we're gonna be then. You know what I'm saying? So now we both got attitude again. So that's just how we just keep flowing.
Yes. Okay.
So.
Okay. Go ahead.
I think that sometimes it may depend on like what the conversation is about, or depend on like how the person's taking it, because sometimes different people take things different ways. Now, someone may take offense to something that's being said to them because of maybe the nature of what it is, or maybe the tone. And so, mind you, your first initial response may be to react with emotion or ego and not logic, or maybe even feeling like being demasculated in a way. And it's like, oh, wait a minute, you're attacking my manhood. Yeah, now, but mind you, that may not necessarily been what was actually happening, but in your mind, that's the way you took it. Yeah. So when you take things a certain way, your response is going to be like, oh, I got to defend I need to defend my, So you may come off aggressive, you may come off a different way. So sometimes taking that time out to sit back and process, understand at what place did this come from? Now I can make a conscious decision on how I want to respond to this. You see what I mean?
One of the things, Walter, we were talking about is that when she put that scenario before you, and you're saying that you don't want to take it personally, or your manhood has been threatened, a lot of times when that happens, for me, I have a hard time explaining her answer or what she was asking me. A lot of times I do have to draw back so that I won't be, and then I can't explain why I got mad. I can't explain why I just personal. Why did I take that personal? Right. And so now it's going through my logical system. Well, I'm trying to ration. I'm trying to doggone logic it out. I'm trying to do all these methods, and it's still not coming up with an answer. Right. And so I'm left there going like. And so now in that interim is that process that, okay, I need some help here. And it doesn't help me that my wife is a therapist. They don't have, okay, now, it ain't like, how do you feel? It's not like that, but it's like, well, where'd that come from? Right. And now I can't explain it.
Right.
I can't.
Because I'm trying to figure out why did you get defensive? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you think that I would demasculate you? You know what I'm saying? So that I always go back to, we're on the same team. you got offended by something that I said.
But
if we're on the same team.
because I heard it different. You may have presented it in a manner that, but when I took it, like, no, you don't talk down to me. Wait a minute.
Right.
See, look, yep.
There-
That, or sometimes with certain things could be triggers. It might not necessarily even be you, but it's something that has happened in the past where someone else has said something similar, and they still ain't never quite unpacked that yet.
Yeah.
So every time when they hear certain things about certain things, it automatically you jump into defense mode.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they ain't gonna get me this time. They got me last. You ain't gonna get me this time. Even though that's not what she meant by it.
Right, but in that note, Ward, I failed to recognize who she really is because now my emotion and the hurt or my defense mechanism kicked in, and now she's not wife.
No.
She's not therapist.
No.
She's just somebody that damn offended me.
Right.
So now I put you in the category right here. So you step off your mantle as wife, love, and all of that. You go over here with these people over here.
Yeah. Right. There you go.
Yeah, just seeing things differently is, boy. Sometimes, you know what though? That's why sometimes we gotta, and I got this bad because I don't sit back and like think about things sometimes before I say something. Cause I'll be just like, did she just say that to me though? Even at work though, you know, somebody might say something, and I'm like, I'll walk down the road and I'll come back and I'll be like, did you just say that to me though? Like, did you just say that?
a while.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just how, I guess that's just how it was built. You know what I'm saying? That's how our mind works sometimes.
Well, I think men,
Yes.
do it work that way? Do it have to go through your filter system so that you can separate? Get into your logic, rationale, and reasoning.
Depend on what it is. Depend on what it is.
Yeah.
Depend on what it
But it's
is.
still there.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's
Well, Anthony got a different.
okay.
Yeah,
Come on, Anthony.
I got a different approach.
Okay.
Look, I ain't gonna say that because it's hard for me to be like, you know what? Like, I have to process it. So for me, it's a matter of, like I say, it's a lot of things that may have triggered something. So if I'm triggered by something, first I'm gonna think about it like, wait, so what are we talking about here? Because if that trigger comes up, I'm going to let you know, like, that right there it's tensing me. So I'm not going to be offensive or jump in your face. I have to hear you first. But then if you take it to another level, that's where I have to step back, like, wait, okay, we can't talk about this right now. We can't talk about this right now because I already know where it's going to lead. It's going to lead down a road where we don't want to go at all. So if I feel it coming in, my process is to be like, back up.
So now watch this. The question was, then why would that take 2 to 3 days to get to a place where you can respond?
Because my significant other is different.
Okay.
She's different. And that's where that process comes into play. Because the things that she may be dealing with is something that I may not understand.
Okay.
And I have to process that on my end to try to figure it out, to try to help that situation. Because we all come from different backgrounds.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where that leads into, like I say, that patience for me is a virtue because I'm not going to jump prior to. I'm going to think about it, and then I'm going to react accordingly for myself.
It depends on how strong that trigger is.
Now that's great. Now, but I have a question now for you, Anthony. So tell me this: have you always dealt with things that way? Because from my understanding, or at least like for me, like in my life, I know that at one point in time in my life, especially like when I was younger, I dealt with things a different type of way. And as I got older, as I got wiser, older, and understood myself and my triggers and things that bother me, I've learned to filter out and process. Some of these things I process a lot quicker. Some things I may take a little bit of time. Or I recognize when I need to take a moment. I'm like, you know what? Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm ready to talk about it now. You know. I mean, so I think that like understanding, the better you understand yourself, the better you understand how to handle different types of situations. Right. Because a person can say something and they may not mean anything by it. A person can say something and they could mean something by it.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. But knowing how to decipher between the two, that you gain that through knowledge and through wisdom, through time. So,
I like that.
self-awareness. The more you are aware of yourself, the better you understand how to handle situations that as you're placed in. Because life happens, and it's been happening long. It's been happening long before we were here, so it'll keep happening long after we're gone. It's not about the life or the incident; it's about how you handle it, right?
Yes.
Right. So as men, that's how
So
it is.
that's good.
That's it.
That's real good.
Right.
Yeah.
And because at the end of the day is, how do I want to present? Man or woman, how do I want to present? How do I want to respond to things? Because life is going to happen, right? Life is going to happen. That's going to be absolutely outside of your control. And like what Devin said, whether it's at work, at home, or whatever, he's like, wait, hold on. You know what, right?
I want to know.
Yeah.
No, but like even with the people that you think you're cool with, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you be like, okay, we cool, you know what I'm saying? And then a couple of days later, they walking out, they bump you into the locker, or they almost push you in your locker. Like, okay, did he just do that? Then the next day, you might not even say nothing that day, but the next day they come and they see you around another corner, they bump you over. I mean, like, okay, now I gotta say something. For real, like. What's
Devin,
up?
like, I want to know.
I want to
Period.
know.
I want to know what's
We
up.
got a problem
Let
or
me
what?
know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so
I love it.
that's just me.
I have a changing the narrative a little bit. Me and my wife got into a discussion.
Hold on, Mr. Sam. Excuse me. I gotta get the water.
Okay, yeah.
And you're getting hot. You're going to get hotter than that after this. And the conversation was still pending. Is when would it be okay that your spouse, significant other, can cheat on you? No, well, I'm just saying right now on the floor it's still pending. Because a lot of us gets to a certain age in which age begins to dictate certain portions of intimacy. And if a woman or a man gets to a point where they cannot perform, when will it be okay for you to stay in the marriage, since that's the only thing that's damaged in the marriage is your inability to perform sexually? When would it be all right for her to go to the next level and find someone? And could you accept that she would find someone even though physically you can't do squat? That's a real question.
It is a real question.
Because whether you know or not, enlarged prostates and all of these things are going on. And men can't perform, and women have this other thing where they can't perform anymore. It's not whether they can get pleasure out of it, like you ain't hitting the right spots. You just can't do nothing.
So the question is,
Yes.
will you leave? Would you rather end the whole relationship? Or do you think it's okay for your spouse to be able to go to somebody else and take care of that part and then still be married to you?
And there is a part two, but answer part one.
I'm going to pass the mic back to Devin. I need a moment to process that.
Look, I'm going to say no, just for the simple fact. So, if we are in a marriage and I can't sexually perform or she can't sexually perform, I don't think that gives me the right to go out and have intimacy with somebody that I took an oath to, my wife.
But you did and she did now.
Okay.
Not physically dead as in arms crossed, but
Right.
now she can't enjoy the pleasure that you once gave her in the marriage, because you're the one that got dysfunctional. She's still functioning, or vice versa. And do you think she married that?
but it was still play on my. I don't think she married that, right? I don't think we get into marriage to think that eventually that portion or that part is going to end.
Absolutely, but when it does,
If and when it does, I think that it will play a bigger part in my brain, my mind. The thought process of me sleeping with somebody else or my wife sleeping with somebody else.
absolutely.
Now, we have a family. So in that instance, I can't process to say that, yeah, you can go out and do whatever it is that
Not
you want.
whatever. She's gonna go to one person. I'm not saying they're gonna be loose.
Nah.
Okay.
Is she gonna leave me?
No, she's not gonna leave you. She's gonna stay in the marriage.
Nah. I'm going to say no on my end.
So you
Okay.
rather just lose it.
You rather just lose her.
So you, because
It,
sex is only how much percent for you in the marriage? How much percent would you give sex?
I ain't gonna give it a high percentage.
Okay, so you
For
allow-
me, perfect.
Okay, let's go with that. So
Yep.
you allow a low percentage
Mhm.
to cause you to kill the whole marriage.
Wait,
Because sex, you said, is not a high percent
for me,
for you.
right?
So what I'm saying is, if you can't perform and she goes to do something else, even though she's not trying to be emotionally tied to this person, and she still wants the marriage, are you saying no? I don't care, even though sex is a low percentage. We can't be together.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yep, that's what I'm saying.
Somebody said the vow was for better or worse. That's what you signed up
Yeah.
for. That's my thoughts.
What was the lady that you had on as a guest? I think her name was Kimberly. Didn't some things happen with her husband? I don't want to tell her business. I don't remember.
Well, it was
verbatim.
live, so it's out there.
Well, no. I just don't. I was concussed after that. I don't. I just genuinely just don't remember.
Oh, okay.
I think it was certain things that she said, like she didn't sign up for that and whatnot, but she still chose to be committed to her husband despite everything. So I think, and I've never been married before. I don't know what that involves and entails, but in a sense, I'm gonna look at it in that capacity that you didn't sign up for either one of y'all to stop being dysfunctional. You know, if y'all married, I feel like y'all just got to stick
But
that
what
thing.
if she is just unhappy?
Unhappy overall then.
No, she's unhappy because that's a part that was missing in a marriage. And she's unhappy because you can no longer give it. She loves you, she hugs you, but then when she hugs you, it turns her on or turns him on.
Okay.
And she's unhappy because she can't fulfill the desires that you're creating in her.
My answer was still no. It don't change off the hugging or the scent of my cologne.
Right, but I'm saying to her, that's appealing to her. So now she wants to go all the way because you've been performing. Now all of a sudden you can't, and she wants you,
Hey,
and she can't have you.
our new intimacy gonna be knitting, I guess.
Okay.
Like,
Anybody else with another opinion on that?
I'm gonna say no because, and part of the reason why is because guess what? We have technology and stuff these days. So even if you can't perform in that way, there's other stuff that you can do to spice up your relationship, spice up your marriage. They
I'm
got
talking about
toys,
you done
they got
done
all kinds of different
everything.
stuff.
You done put the implant. You done put the
Did
stimulus.
you try the rose thing?
The
I'm
who?
just saying the rose. Oh, you
I don't know nothing about no rose. I don't know nothing about no rose.
Find that dang on rose thing.
Found out about the rose.
It looks-
So what we talking about?
It's a rose. It looks like a rose.
Uh-huh.
And it looks like an ornament or something. You'll see it sitting up on the table. You'll be like, oh, that's a nice little rose thing.
Okay.
But you turn it.
It's an adult toy.
They got buttons. It's an adult toy.
For who?
The bad
For
boy
her?
got yeah.
What
yeah,
if
for
she
her,
don't
you
want
know.
that?
Yeah, she might not want to knock that till she try it.
But what if she don't want that? Because
Okay.
now, here we go. We had that question last time that you posed. Like, what is she thinking about with that rose there?
Okay.
What her mind is.
Yeah, right.
You know, what her mind is. Come on up in here.
It don't necessarily have to be on somebody else.
Okay.
no, it don't.
Rose, it's on the rose.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, what is she thinking?
about the thoughts that she used to have X amount of years ago with whoever the husband is.
Yeah, but the husband's still there.
Right,
So
exactly.
you gonna tell me she thinking about? Because we had got into it, not got into it, but we had discussed if a person masturbates, what are they thinking? What is the image that you're putting in your head to get off?
It depends on the person. I can't tell you what
No,
you
but
think.
I'm just saying,
or
but
y'all think.
Yeah, I'm not. It's
No.
not an isolated incident, but I'm saying overall, okay. What are you thinking about? Is that cool? Is that spiritual? Is that
See, at that point, though, that point, if you can no longer perform, right, then that ability, if she or he loves you, I think that at that point you have to please yourself by not, well, I ain't going to say not. Please yourself because you know that that person can't please you. So it becomes an intimacy between you because you don't want to step out on that person. Now, if this is the marriage that you want to be a part of, now, if you feel that you need other things, that communication comes into play. But if you've been married for years, what do you take that? You know,
We're just talking about the flat out physical desire that I want.
So what's your thoughts on it?
No, I posed the question.
No.
But
What's
my
your thoughts on it?
My
Yeah.
thoughts on it went part 2. No, I wouldn't like it because I would feel no longer is she my wife. But if I had to agree and I see the unhappiness that I can no longer please her and I still want the marriage and this is the ultimate, then we get divorced, right? So you would say. My question for part 2 is, okay, what if I agree to, I don't know nothing about it, but then she chooses an ex. Does that change the narrative?
If she chooses what?
An ex that she used to be with or he used to be with, does that change the narrative?
It's still no.
Okay.
That
I'm just saying that.
X don't make it turn to
Right,
a yes
because
or
your no is a no. Flat out. So your
Yeah.
no is a no. But I'm saying now, say somebody accepts that. And now they say, okay, well, I found somebody. I'm going to be with my ex. He can't come over. I ain't going to see him. It's this thing right here, and that's it.
I mean, but in a sense, though, how many times have we not seen that movie where that then turns into something else?
Exactly.
No,
we can't say off of a
that was now that's the question because she still loves the man, or the man still loves her, but he can't get fulfilled or she can't get fulfilled, but they still want the marriage. Or she just says forget it.
I'm not
Or
believing.
he said forget it.
This Walt Disney question you asking is becoming more and more unrealistic. I'm
this
sorry.
Is not, wait a minute.
I'm
This
so-
is not. It was a conversation. This is not the reality.
No. I'm not saying it's your reality.
Right, but I'm saying it's a conversation,
This
and I'm
co-
quite sure there's people out there that like.
100%. But I'm saying the question got too many left turns now. Like,
it's
what
only
if they
one.
stay faithful? And it's like,
You can't be faithful.
You are treading in dangerous territory when you get to doing things like that.
Absolutely.
Because there's history there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, let's say it's an ex and this person hasn't talked to or been with this person in years.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? The second they get to being around each other and doing different things and whatnot, guess what comes back up?
Those old feelings.
Those old
Absolutely.
memories, those old this and that. Then the questions start coming in. Well, what could have been? What could have been? Or what we could have had? Or
Absolutely.
maybe, see, this is why you should have just been with.
You're absolutely correct.
So now
watch this here, Walt. Now watch this here. So now because she was honest, or he or she was honest, and said, okay, what do you think about it? Okay, now because you cannot function, or he or she can't function, now she goes do it anyway. Now what you got? You don't even have what you would call the intimacy as far as raising the kids, cooking the dinner. Baby, I love you. We can still go on trip. You don't even have that now. You lost it all. Come on up in here.
it wasn't meant to be.
No. I
You
can't
said-
say
you said
it
if
was
she
never
go- if she goes out and
he
just-
or she
or okay, he or she just goes out and do it.
behind your back
They had
anyway.
ulterior motives then.
No.
Why
No,
is
they
that-
can after about 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and you can't do nothing. Then what?
They're unhappy. Like you said,
She's
I think
unhappy.
he
Do
or
I
she-
release her or does she release me?
I feel like we're gonna be unhappy together. For real. Hey.
That sound like to death do us part
You
to
call-
me. That sound like to death do.
Call me selfish if you want to. I feel like we're gonna be unhappy together because I'm unhappy because I can't perform for you, and you unhappy because I can't perform for you. So we unhappy together because look at here, we till death do us part.
Okay, I got you.
Unless we gonna get divorced or whatever, we till death do us part.
I got you.
For real.
That
Yeah.
X scenario, yeah, I'm with him. You trending down the wrong direction.
I agree. It's not. This is just a posed question for conversation.
No.
And where you at?
I'm gonna feel like you been.
What response did we get?
No, nobody is responding out.
Oh, that was too deep, huh?
I'm gonna feel like you had that on your mind a long time ago. For real.
That's what I said. Ulterior motives.
That's what I was.
How you would feel,
Yeah,
right?
you had it on your
You've
mind
been
a long
one
time
to-
ago.
After 3 or 4 years, and you
Yeah.
ain't been able to do nothing.
Yes,
Man,
you've been
look.
thinking about this for how long? Come on now.
I would say some things, but I can't.
The
say
thought
them.
of you sleeping with your ex, or
Well,
I'll
it
say
don't
it for
mean-
you.
No,
The thought of
the
you
X
sleeping.
was part 2. So y'all jumped on the X part, and this didn't jump on the surrogate part.
I
That's
did.
what I'm
that's why I said
You
her.
said no.
we-
He said no.
It was
and
three-
he said no. I'm saying no. Everybody is saying no, but it's still a question that's posed out there because people do that all the time in marriage. Some people.
Some people do.
Let me say this.
Yes.
Because there's people who's really in feel trapped, right, in a relationship because they did not sign up for that or was prepared for that particular part of the relationship to not be there. Some people have married people that's 30 years older than them, right, 20 years older than them. So where they may be in their prime, the other person, is kind of tapped out. So they like, okay, do I just be unhappy? And so that's like a real thing. And Devin looking at me like, so Devin do his part, we both are happy.
Take the mic.
I don't see people don't get in the tub and let the water sprinkle. I don't look. You can do. There's all kind of things you can do to satisfy yourself. If you're in that kind of situation, you see what I'm saying? So there ain't no reason you should have to go see that man that you don't drop off down the street long time ago.
Or anybody else.
Or that man go see that woman that you don't kick to the curb long time ago. Forget
It
that.
doesn't necessarily have to be
No.
an X. Now, don't get caught on
Or
the X.
used to play with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't get caught on the X.
No.
Y'all, hey, listen.
I mean,
I
that's
think
just me.
one of y'all wives is on here. They talking about something. I'm with you, baby. That's doing part. I'm killing you, you killing me.
That's it. Period. That's it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, y'all. Any last minute things? So what we just the men are having a conversation about real life men situations, right? Before we go off, any last minute, what would you say to a man who may be in that situation, right, where he cannot perform? Let's stick it so it don't be this Walt Disney thing that's wrong.
I'm sorry.
Week 7 and stuff.
What would you say to a man, right, that's currently in a marriage and he knows his wife is unhappy? What would you say to him to encourage him?
What is the reason why she's unhappy?
It's unhappy because no
Just
matter whoever's watching, it may be different. You know what I'm saying? Things.
Right, it's not
I just want you to think. How would you encourage him?
Well, I would say that, well, first and foremost, if she's unhappy, first off, I ask the question, does he care about whether or not she is happy or unhappy? Because that's probably going to be a starter. Because if she's unhappy, and if she's been unhappy, then, and he's not aware that she's unhappy, then they're not communicating. Or someone's not communicating. Somewhere there's communication breakdown. So first and foremost, he needs to understand that she is. And if she is, unhappy, then get to the root of why. The whys. The whys are like the most important parts. There's always a why for everything. Understanding the why helps you understand what the problem is. And once you understand what the problem is, then you can work to remedy the problem. But first, you have to understand that there is a problem, what the problem is. Now you can start to working to troubleshoot through effective communication and taking the time out to ask those questions.
I would say, I mean, just from my personal experience, seek help. Seek help. Because if you're going through it, if I've been through it, there's been others. And to get an understanding better for you and your significant other, you want to seek help because you don't know if that help can help you. Now, if all things through that help doesn't work out, then you have to make a decision. You have to make a decision. You want to be happy, she want to be happy. If the relationship ends, how does it end? Does it end on a good note? You know, are you always going to be friends based on her or your perception? So that's what I would say. You know, seek help and then go from there.
Someone made a comment. They said, if you have been married, you know if someone is unhappy. The point addressing the issue.
There you go.
Man, that's deep because a lot of times in marriage, we want to make sure that our significant other is happy. And without internalizing it or making it personal. No, I'm saying without internalizing or making it personal. Once this man feels that he can no longer make his woman happy, no matter what he does, and I tried every method, spiritual, trying to pray, waiting on it, and my wife is just not happy. Then I have to come to the conclusion, is she choosing not to be happy? Is this something that she is desiring? Because once you put it back into God's institution, because he's the one who created marriage, and you know, the love is gone, the spark is gone, and she just don't care. What do you do as a man? You know, you're very much at a vulnerable position because I know I would do heaven, hell to move and to make my wife happy. Right. And if it's out of my realm or out of my power to do something, then what? You know, that's where you're going to walk around here mad. That's where you're going to walk around here angry and pushing on the kids and everybody that comes in contact with you is just, you know, you're going to be bitter. You're going to be resentful because you want something that no longer it appears that you can have. And she live. You live. It ain't about you can't do nothing. It's just that she's just unhappy or you unhappy. But basically what the question was posed that the woman is just unhappy.
I think that sometimes, as being a man, being a father, protector, a guardian, you want to try to save. But sometimes you can't save every damn own body. You got to remember that. Sometimes some things are out of your hands.
Yes.
And some people, another individual's happiness is not your responsibility per se.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because there may be some things you can do that can maybe make a person happy. But overall, at the end of the day, that's a personal choice.
Absolutely.
That is a personal choice. Just like how we talked about earlier about how life has been being life. Like you can choose to have a good day or a bad day. Different things can happen in a day. It don't matter about the things that happen. Like I said, it's about how you handle it. Whether
Absolutely.
You make the conscious decision in your mind that I'm going to have a good day regardless of whatever happens today. Because this is my day and no one can take it from me. It's my joy.
Absolutely.
But in the same sense, a person also can choose to be unhappy. Like
Yes.
no matter what anybody says or do, I'm going to be mad because I'm angry about this thing, or I feel whatever it is I'm feeling internally, and no matter what, I won't be moved. I'm going to be this way. So, if it's a situation like that, there's nothing you can do. So.
All right.
All right.
Close it out. Y'all coming back next week? How y'all doing it? No, that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
I would like
We'll be here. That's what she's saying.
Okay, so I'm just wanting to tell the viewers. So we will be back next week, same time, Thursday, 7:30. Trying to keep it to an hour. Y'all must start getting into this deeper, juicy conversation towards the end. But I don't want to just keep rolling.
Right.
But thank you.